Right. So last week we have looked at the introduction part of zakat, whereby we focus on the conditions of paying zakat, the beneficiaries of zakat, and then we've gone through some of the examples of zakat on gold. So for gold, we have two types of zakat here. One is gold that is worn as jewelry. Another one is gold that is not worn. So the keyword there is at least the gold must be worn at least once to be considered as gold worn as jewelry. And it is depending on the states, as you can see in the notes. All the Islamic religious matters are actually under the purview of state government, so that is why the regulations are different from one state to another. But for the focus of for the purpose of our subject, I use a lot of Selangor example, which is from Lembaga Zakat Selangor. So if you find different figure from, for example, Perak, Pahang, so doesn't matter, it's like that, because basically the we call it the basics of or the nisab for calculation for zakat on gold is actually 85 grams. That is general rules to be applied on zakat not worn as jewelry. All right, so for today we will look at zakat on money. All right, so for zakat on money, as you can see here, when you save money in banks, so money is used as a measurement of value, so medium of exchange, and we can say that both intrinsic and fiat money have the purchasing power like gold. Right, so the zakat rules regarding money will be based on zakat rules for gold, which is the non-jewelry. So if you go back to zakat on gold, which is the non-jewelry and the one that is kept as investment or not worn as jewelry, the nisab is actually 20 mithqal or 85 grams. Right, so basically for zakat on gold or zakat on money, the nisab is will be 85 grams. So, and the rate of zakat is actually depends, the rate of zakat is 2.5%. All right, how do we calculate this zakat on money? So I have example here. For example, you have saving in conventional accounts. There will be two types of savings accounts. One is conventional accounts, one is Islamic accounts, and you can see sometimes depending on banks as well, you can have the small I account, which is the Wadiyah account or Islamic saving accounts. Right, so for saving in conventional accounts, right, so this is the example throughout the year. Okay, so zakat calculation for conventional accounts must exclude any interest or impermissible elements. So you have learned Sharia, financial planning, and even in your insurance planning subject, we have the not permissible element. One of them is actually interest. Right, so example of a saving account transaction, for example, here in January, the balance is 22,000 and then out 2,000, interest 200, up to end of the year, the final balance or the ending balance for this account is 19,600. Okay, but we have interest portion here, which is 200 ringgit. So, okay, for example, in this question, the nisab for the house is 14,865. All right, I will show you the table later. So based on states, they sometimes have one nisab table for zakat on money. So we can straight away go to that table to check. But here it means for nisab for the house, which means is 85 grams of gold multiplied by the market value of gold. So this is how they get the figure 14,865. So for the purpose of this example, saya tak letak lah how much is the gold per gram. So we assume that the nisab for the house is 14,865. So the zakat calculation is actually based on this figure, 19,600. But since there is a portion of interest here, okay, so the interest portion must be deducted from the last balance in order to calculate zakat on money. Right, so the nisab is 14,865. We need this nisab figure because we want to compare with this figure. All right, so when we said the nisab is 14,865, whatever amount or whatever ending balance that you have, which is more than 14,865, is actually zakatable. If let's say your ending balance is 5,000, nisab is 14,000, not subject to zakat. Okay, dia ada nisab dia. So here the nisab is 14,865. So the last balance minus interest. Remember, this is conventional account. Interest portion, we have to take out the interest portion. So that will give us 19,400. So 19,400 times 2.5%, the zakat that would be paid for this account is 485 ringgit. Okay, so if a person choose to use Komariah here, so if you remember last week, I've shown you that the rate is 2.5%, but it is actually according to 354 days. So kalau if you follow 365 days, the rate should be 2.577. This is for the purpose of comparison only. But for our purpose of calculation, we use 2.5%. Okay, so we don't bother about 2.577. Okay, so if the total here, the 19,400 ni, the total must be combined with other asset that based on nisab of gold. Right, so example here ni kita just buat zakat on money, assuming that the above person ni, she or he has no other asset based on gold nisab. Alright, if you remember, if you go back to our last week's note, this one. Okay, so these are, I go back to this slide. So these are actually the wealth or the assets that we must combine in order for us to calculate the amount of zakat. So we have done gold jewelry, one. Alright, so today kita nak tengok money and also shares. But you must remember, we don't calculate them independently. Alright, we have to combine all the amount here and we have the final figure, then only we multiply by 2.5%. Alright, but for the purpose of our calculation, I will show you one by one. Alright, as if orang ni tak ada wealth lain lah. When we calculate gold, we assume that there is no cash in the calculation. Or now we are calculating zakat on money, so we assume dia tak ada gold. Right? But in real life, in reality, by right, you have to add everything before we multiply by 2.5%. Okay. Alright. Okay. What about saving in Islamic account? Right, tadi just now we have conventional account whereby you receive interest. For Islamic accounts, the main difference is actually the treatment of hibah. So for Islamic account, there is no interest and it is called hibah. It is permissible and it has to be included in zakat calculation. Right, so for example, again, same account, but the 200 portion is not interest, but it is hibah because this is an Islamic account. Okay. So since this 200 is included in the calculation, so we are using the same nisab amount, just like the previous example. All right, so the included in the last balance is 200,000, which is actually the gift by the banks to the depositor after performing business for a year with a value of 200. The hibah is permitted and hence it is not deducted from the ending balance amount. All right, so the last balance here, 19,600. We straight away multiply with 2.5%. Okay, again, assuming that this person has no other wealth, yang kita kata we use the gold nisab lah. So this is basically the difference for conventional and also Islamic account. Alright, what about if we have multiple savings? You have money in public bank, in tabung haji, in Maybank, so you have multiple savings. All right, so what we should do if you have multiple savings, so standard how kena determine dulu. All right. So the last balance from various accounts. Contohnya, we have 3 accounts here. We add all the last balance, the ending balance. For example, account 1 4,000, account 2 1,000, account 3 10,000, which gives us a total amount of 15,000. So if we refer back to the previous nisab, we still use the same nisab amount, which is 14,856. So tadi the total dah jadi 15,000, right? So this amount, this total ni mesti lebih dari nisab amount lah. If let's say the nisab is like now the nisab is around 19,000 something, right? For this year, for this month, it's around 19,000 something. So in this case, if the person wants to pay zakat, so the nisab for this year is 19,000 something. So based on this amount, this person will not be subject to zakat on money. Okay, sebab dia less than nisab amount. But in this example, the nisab is 14,000 something. So the amount that he has in this bank is 15,000. So kita kena kira zakat lah. Boleh Any questions so far for zakat on money? There. Right, so if you have question, this is taken from Majlis Agama Islam Adat Melayu Perak. Okay, this is kadar nisab, they call it nisab for from year 2000 until year 2021. Nampak tak? The nisab is calculated based on month. Okay, harga emas ni, the value here senilai dengan harga 20 miskol emas atau bersamaan dengan 85 gram. Alright, so this is the amount for 85 gram gold. Alright, 85 gram gold. So this is our nisab, 85 gram gold. So they dah calculate for us. This is the nisab for zakat on money and also business. Alright, so instead of you have to calculate alamak berapa gram satu berapa gold 1 gram how much, so you have to multiply with 85 gram. So for this state, Perak, it is actually, the table is actually given. So if you want to calculate in April, let's say you want to pay your zakat in April, which means from March last year until from May last year until April this year. So this is the nisab amount, which is 19,803.92. If you look at the figure, the nisab figure from 2000 lah mudah lah, so the figure is actually increasing because we are looking at gold price. So gold price is increasing. So back in 2000, the nisab is only 2,900. Nampak tak? So 2 naik 3, 4, 6. Starting 2010 dah jadi 10,000. So now 2021, 19,000. So nampak dalam 10 years sudah naik like 10,000. Alright, so for zakat on money or business, we don't have to worry. Most of the states, the zakat website memang ada this nisab table. Alright, so you just use the figure. So if you wonder in this example, mana dapat nisab tadi, contohnya in this table, where did I get this nisab figure? It is actually from this one. Okay, so if you want to calculate zakat on money, terus kita tengok sini je lah. So the nisab dia dekat sini. So you don't have to compute 1 gram gold multiplied by 85 gram, tak perlu. So dia dah ada table. Alright, so issues pertaining to zakat on money, there are some issues juga. So like what we did with zakat on gold, there are certain issues kan. Kita tengok zakat on white gold macam mana kan, zakat on kalau gold yang wear by men macam mana. So for example, for zakat on money ni, first of all, what about savings in tabung haji? Okay, tabung haji is an Islamic institution, savings. Tabung haji actually already pay zakat on behalf of depositors. Right, tabung haji dah bayar zakat. So you don't have to worry because we don't have to pay zakat on money kept in tabung haji. Alright, because the yearly income yang kita simpan tu, tabung haji dah bayar zakat. But okay, saving in tabung haji must be included during nisab evaluation, either during zakat assessment on gold based on asset or income based asset. How to calculate this one? Nampak tak? Dia kata kena include during nisab evaluation. When you want to determine whether you have to pay zakat or not, you have to include your tabung haji amount in the calculation before we derive at our nisab tu. Alright, so example, katakanlah orang ni dia ada RM5,000 saving in tabung haji pay zakat in this portion, saving in other place 10,000, so total 15,000. So 15,000 compare with nisab, kita katakan for example here, total saving already exceed nisab. Okay, kita assume dekat sini nisab kita ikut figure tadi lah 14,000 something tu I put here the nisab is 14,856. Okay, contoh I don't put nisab 19,000. Kalau nisab 19,000, this amount tak payah bayar zakat. So here the total ni tabung haji plus saving in other place is equivalent to 15,000, which is exceed the nisab. Nisab here is 14,856. So dia kena bayar zakat lah because total dia is more than nisab. But how much amount that he or she has to pay zakat? Not 15,000, but only on 10,000 amount because this one is already paid by tabung haji. Okay, any question? Stay with me, Okay. What about parents keep their money in child account? Ni musim-musim raya kan, so especially small children, so the parents normally keep the duit raya for the child and simpan dalam the child's bank account. So what about this one? Okay, this is depending on the intention. If the intention is for gift, then the money is belong to the child. So normally duit raya semua ni kita kata duit tu anak punya lah. So to the parents, tolong simpan je, right? So the money belongs to the children. And the zakat assessment is made based on the ownership of individual child. If the intention is for nominee, the real owner is the parents. Okay, saja okay ada duit banyak ni, kita letaklah kat akaun anak banyak-banyak ni. Okay, but it is still the parents' money. So in that case, parents might include the money in their zakat assessment. So again, depending on the intention. So how much you want to compute is actually up to you, the owner of the money, because we have the rules already, which is we have money is subject to zakat, so savings in bank account is subject to zakat. So how do you want to compute it, especially if the parents they keep the money in child account tu, ni kena tengok lah macam mana, depending on the intention. What about imposing two zakat on one asset? Okay, not permissible to impose two zakat or two types of zakat on the same asset for the same year. Okay, tak boleh macam ni. So this is against teaching, as Prophet said, there is no double payment for zakat. So during zakat on money calculation, any money that has been zakated through zakat on income, it must be deducted. Okay, so for example, at the end of the house, total balance in saving account is 25,000. So contohnya, if this money of this amount of money is inclusive of current income, current year income, for example, 5,000. Okay, so 5,000 must be deducted or excluded from the assessment, right? So because we know how this 1 tahun, so from last year until this year 1 year. Let's say the income in 1 year tu termasuk dengan this year punya. So we want to pay zakat for 2020. Okay, but in our account tu ada juga income for this year, for year 2021. So by right, we have to deduct whatever current year income. Otherwise, so current year income you dah bayar zakat for last year. When you come to 2021, the money is still there. Kita kira lagi sekali. Nampak tak? You double count the zakat tu for the amount that would be in the bank. Okay, so there is no double payment. So what we want to do is try to take out the current year's amount tu and only calculate the last year's or at the end of the whole zakat figure. Alright? But it is quite difficult to do, kan? Once we have one, let's say you have only one bank account, everything you dump in there, so you don't know at the end of the year ni duit bila ni kan? Maybe duit 2 tahun lepas yang you already pay zakat 2 years ago, but it's until now the money is still there. So kalau ikutkan dia kata no double payment for zakat, but it is very difficult to asingkan. So what you want to do is maybe you just look at the ending balance je. Okay, that is why for zakat on money, the calculation we follow the ending balance at the end of the year, right? Assuming that all the transaction tu for 1 year tu habis lah, but it is actually not, sebab this is saving account. But these are the issues that we have to consider. Alright, next one would be zakat on shares, right? If you invest in shares, okay, we have to pay zakat as well. Alright, so according to Dr. Yusuf Qardawi ni, zakat shares refer to valuable papers which are traded specifically in trade transaction in the share market. Okay, secondary type of wealth, shares and bond at the capital market will use zakat ruling for trade goods ataupun absolute rule, right? So zakat on share will not be imposed on the investor if the company has already paid zakat on its business. Okay, this is normal case juga. Certain company yang owned by Muslim, they already paid zakat. Okay, so they bayar zakat on business. However, if the company does not pay zakat on its business, the holder of the shares has to pay zakat on shares. Okay, again, these rules are made to help us calculate the zakat. So depending on your intention, how are you going to pay? Alright, so according to Fatwa Selangor, again, I use Selangor, zakat on shares calculated based on the ruling for trade goods, which is the value at the end of how. Okay, so two main types of shares. We have zakat on non-listed shares and zakat on listed shares. Alright, so zakat on listed share that you play, kita beli dari Bursa Malaysia tu. Alright, non-listed share ni you own shares in Sendirian Berhad company. Let's say you are the owner or you invest in Sendirian Berhad company, you are a family members, set up a company, so you have share dalam company tu. Right, itu non-listed lah, Sendirian Berhad. For listed shares ni, listed companies lah yang kita boleh main guna bursa from Bursa Malaysia tu. So all Bursa Malaysia are actually listed. Alright, first of all, let's look at zakat on non-listed shares. Okay. So it refers to share which is not listed or traded in any official exchange. So non-listed share normally include share ownership in private companies and cooperative. Okay, you masuk saham dalam koperasi pun termasuk dalam non-listed share. So kalau ikutkan kat even banyak tempat ada koperasi Felda lah, koperasi Peladang, banyak a lot of cooperative. So those are actually considered non-listed share. So in principle, the business entity, the koperasi, the private company itu, they have to pay zakat at company level. Okay, so ada zakat on business, kita tengok later. The management of the company has to manage the business and ensure zakat payment on behalf of shareholders. Okay, what happened if the company did not pay zakat on its business? Dia ada profit, dia bayar dividend, dia tak bayar zakat. So in this case, the shareholder, it is compulsory for the shareholder to pay zakat due on his share. So how do we calculate? Okay, contohnya zakatable asset for the company 100,000. Calculation zakat for the company 100,000 times 2.5%. Alright, if you look at here, the calculation for zakat on business, kita guna 2.5 juga. Right, like what we have done before, kita buat zakat individual. For tax zakat pula, for tax on individual, kita ada table kan, according to our chargeable income. But for company tax, the rate is fixed. But untuk zakat tak ada. Zakat semua fix. You individual or business or company, the rate is 2.5% juga. Right. So for example here, the zakatable asset for the company 100,000. So the zakat would be 2,500. Okay. So the company should pay 2,500 as their zakat payment. Tapi dia tak bayar. Contoh di sini, the company does not pay. Let's say we own 20% of shares in that company. Alright, so 20% of the share, so 20% from 2,500 lah, so that would be 500 ringgit. Okay, what about listed share? Listed share ni banyak sikit lah. Tadi kalau yang tadi non-listed tu cooperative and also sendirian berhad company, private company. So for listed shares, alright, so those are the examples, bonus issue, right issue, unit trust, preference shares, warrants, loan stock. So the concept used is similar to non-listed share juga. Hull used is the hull of the portfolio. So the investor must invest for a complete year. So we are not tracking the hull of each share of or counter. Kita tak ikut hull of each share ataupun counter. Kita ikut hull of the portfolio. So kalau investor tu dah invest for a complete year, kita kira dah cukup hull lah tu. So how do we calculate the zakat on on listed shares? We have market value at hull completion plus the net profit realized during current hull multiplied by 2.5%. Okay, I have the example later. So according to Fatwa Selangor, hukum zakat pelaburan saham. So it is very important for things yang memang we know that we have to pay, but since this is actually regulation is actually under the purview of the state government, so the state come up with this one. So other approach in Malaysia is calculating zakat on shares based on the lowest value. So KL, Penang, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, they use the lowest value. Selangor guna yang ni. Pahang and Singapore, they use current value juga. Alright, so this is how we should calculate zakat on listed share. Okay, but I took this from Lembaga Zakat Selangor, so it is actually in Malay. Alright, so contoh taksiran, so this is how we calculate our zakat. For example, saham-saham di Bursa Malaysia. Alright, so let's say we have 266,000. So ada untung, ada profit, realized profit from investment, ada exchange traded fund, ada real estate, banyaklah orang ni punya shares, lain-lain pelaburan luar negara, ada investment in foreign capital market, right? So these are all at market value on the at the end of the haul, pada tarikh cukup haul. So dah cukup setahun, kita kira dulu, sorry, nanti je. Alright, so minus, let's say ada brokerage cost. Kita tahulah, so you all dah belajar investment portfolio kan, sudah ada juga, you know, there are certain costs that you have to bear, brokerage cost, dividend from non-syariah compliant investment. Okay, nampak? Tadi siapa tanya, Siti tadi tanya kalau from non-syariah, kita kena tolak. Because if we go back to the principle, whatever income, it must be permissible. So if you invest in non-syariah compliant company, you get the dividend that is not permissible. Itu you boleh bayar tapi sebagai charity. Ingat tak, if you go back to the previous slide sebelum ni kan, I said that whatever income that you get that is not permissible, you cannot pay zakat out of that money. So if you want to pay juga, it will be charity je, not zakat. So in this case, dia ada juga dividend from non-syariah compliant investment. Kena tolak. Capital appreciation of non-syariah compliant investment lagi. Tolak lagi. Right, so whatever non-syariah compliant ni kena tolak lah. So nilai saham pelaburan or value of shares on investment that is subject to zakat is 464,500. So which means the total ni semua tolak dengan yang warna merah ni, that will give us 464,500 ringgit. So the rate of zakat is 2.5%, that would be 11,610. Okay, so nampak tak yang whatever we tolak dekat sini ni, okay, these are the non-permissible part, non-permissible part. So if you invest in non-syariah compliant, you get the dividend, tolak kat sini lah dividend dia. Alright, we still have certain issues on zakat on shares ni. For example, what about share ownership with restriction? Okay, so I'm not sure whether you all know about ASB loan or not. So you should, sebab nanti when you especially when you go doing your intern later on nanti, so in case you end up with banks, so you should know. So for example, kita kata restriction in investment portfolio, ASB loan, you make loan, you have the money, but it is considered as loan. So you purchase ASB by, for example, with Maybank loan. Okay, so ada restriction of transaction for shares bought through loan. Okay. Any other reason that makes the owner incapable to spend, sell, give out the asset owned. So as a loan, you ada duit tu but you still have to pay every month kan, so bukan saving you sendiri punya. So the zakatability status, investment portfolio is deemed as incomplete ownership. So zakat will be exempted until all the restrictions are removed. Okay, ataupun you own shares tapi the company tu that you purchase tu dia under PN4. PN4 ni company yang kita kata dia ada problem lah, dia masuk under problem tu, transaction dia suspended. You tak boleh transact pun, you cannot buy or sell that company share sebab dia under PN4 contohnya. So this is actually kita kata ownership with restriction. Okay, so untuk restriction ni deemed as incomplete. So bila incomplete ownership, remember kita balik kepada the definition balik kan, it must be, you must have full ownership kan, tak dia boleh partial tak boleh. So ni kira incomplete, so zakat will be exempted, so you don't have to pay zakat. Issue number 2, investment in non-syariah compliant shares. Dah macam mana pula So to invest, if you involve yourself in shares investment, we actually even for non-Muslim, we have the option untuk pilih syariah compliant shares. Ada even in bursa dia dah listkan dah. So syariah compliant shares yang the list is actually provided by Securities Commission. So you all pun dah belajar kan what is the rules untuk jadi syariah compliant kan. So dia tak boleh involve dalam gambling apa semua tu. All the 4 elements tu dia tak boleh involve in the 4 elements. And then the profit tu mesti adalah dah ada cara dia kira dah to get the syariah compliant company tu. What happen if you invest in non-syariah compliant share? You don't know, contohnya you don't know but you still invest kan. So since SC provides syariah compliant securities as a guidance, so the evaluation based on inilah like I said before, the syariah principles in terms of primary business and investment activities. For example, if the business involved in gambling, for sure the non-syariah compliance. So the list also helps investor to identify the non-syariah compliant shares. But what happen if you still invest lah in, let's say, non-syariah compliant share? So the zakatability status only the initial capital. Let's say I invest 5,000 ringgit dalam non-syariah compliant share. So the capital 5,000 tu je yang kena zakat. The capital gain, the dividend that you receive, is not permissible and not zakatable. Okay, dia pun dah cakap dekat sini lah, details to refer to SC Islamic Capital Market Guideline. But technically for investment in non-syariah compliance ni, it is not zakatable. If you go back to tadi lah, that is why dalam calculation ni tadi, nampak tak? Dividen dia dapat, dia tolak dekat sini. Okay. What about employee share option? Certain company dia bagi shares for free to the employees, right? ESOS kita panggil. So bila employee, when the employee get the ESOS ni, dia dapat, kita kata he or she get it for free. Or sometimes dia boleh beli tapi dengan harga yang rendah. Alright, so you can buy, you can purchase the company share, dia tolak gaji ke. So for example, you can buy the share in cash or can be bought through loan. So the calculation will be similar to the calculation on zakat on shares. Okay. If bought through loan, dia kata loan installment will be deducted from the worth of shares at the end of how. Dia calculation jadi macam kita buat zakat on gold yang kita pon tu kan, hantar untuk arwah nur tu. So ada loan so tolak lah. So this one for zakat from ESOS. I think I have the calculation for I'll go back to the appendix later, the one that I shared with you. I shared 2 tables rasanya for your appendix too. I'll go back to that later. Alright, next would be zakat on takaful product. Okay, so for takaful ni, okay, you pun dah belajar takaful kan, ada general and also family takaful, right? So for general takaful ni, general contribution ni pergi kepada common pool. So biasalah the concept sama lah. So distribute underwriting surplus to the participant. So for general takaful, we are talking about motor vehicle, marine, personal accident and health. All these contributions are not zakatable. Okay, so zakat on takaful product hanya untuk family takaful, because family takaful the concept dia macam life insurance kan. So family takaful ada portion of savings dalam tu. Right, for general takaful tak adalah, because you will enjoy the benefit kan. So for family takaful ni biasanya untuk death and TPD kan. So ingat lagi tak TPD tu apa? Apa?
Total permanent disability.
Alright, so for family, for general takaful, the benefit is actually enjoyed by the kita kata participant lah, for motor vehicle, for personal accident. For family takaful ni, it is considered as saving. Okay, and zakat is imposed under the principle of zakat on money, but it is calculated based on withdrawal cash value. So you know, for family takaful ni, at the end of the year, kita ada table biasanya diberi by the insurance company whereby we can look at the withdrawal cash value. Let's say kita ambil up to at the age of 70 contohnya. Alright, but you pay zakat every year. Selagi tak umur 70 tahun, you will pay the premium kan. But every year we will calculate the zakat based on withdrawal cash value. Okay, so withdrawal cash value is the money that can be utilized anytime without invalidating the policy. You can withdraw. If the policy is cancelled, zakat is payable on the whole amount of surrender value. Let's say you cancel, you get certain amount of money. So the zakat is payable on the whole amount. So for conventional insurance, the profit should not be taken and should be channeled to Baitumal or for public benefit. Nampak? This is for family takaful je bayar zakat. For conventional insurance, if you have life insurance, conventional life insurance, whatever profit that you have, it will go to charity. You cannot pay zakat because that is from conventional. Alright, how do we compute our family takaful zakat ni? Right, so sum of savings or investment minus the minimum cash value to be retained in policy, that would be the withdrawal cash value. Kita ada minimum value kan yang must be kept in the policy. So the zakat would be cash value withdrawal times 2.5%. If the cash value sini katakanlah value ni less than nisab. Again we go back to nisab tadi, kita guna 14,000 something tu. If the takaful ni, the cash value is less than 14,000 tadi. Okay, so we must combine because you go back to the table just now. table yang type of zakat yang kita kena combine tu. So takaful tu termasuk dalam tu gold, money, takaful, shares. Combine everything compared with the nisab. Kita tak compare satu-satu So katakanlah in this case kita assume dia tak ada aset lain lah, dia cuma ada takaful je. Dia tak ada aset lain. So calculation would be like this. But by right, the calculation would be kita kena tambahkan semua benda baru kita darab dengan 2.5%. So I will show you the calculation in the website later. Alright, what about issues pertaining to zakat on takaful ni? Satu, claim for general and family takaful. Alright, so example of cash benefit based on existing ruling, zakat on income imposed, any income including employment related benefit. So all these are actually in the form of gift and subject to zakat, right? Nampak tak? If you claim kan, dapat cash benefit masuk hospital lah apa, you get the daily allowance, or dapat compensation on death or permanent disablement tu, or untuk death or TPD, you get the claim kan, you claim and dapat. So this amount ni kalau ikutkan the existing ruling ni subject to zakat. Okay. What about early surrender of family takaful plan? Okay, let's say you purchase a policy that will mature at the age of 70 years. Tapi you surrender. Age you 60, you dah surrender dah. So, if you surrender, ada surrender value. Alright, so bila ada surrender value tu, kita akan treat dia sama dengan zakat on money withdrawal. Zakat on money lah. So, kita compute based on zakat on money. So, not zakatable upon receiving the money. Remember for family takaful ni kita dah bayar ikut haul kan? Every year kita bayar based on our withdrawal cash value. So when we surrender, tak perlu bayar dah because that one already paid and the zakat is already paid for early surrender. What about zakat treatment for maturity? Okay, tadi surrender ambil plan up to 70 years old. Tapi at 60 years you surrender. Tak perlu bayar zakat sebab kita dah bayar ikut. What about the maturity? Okay, the policy matures at the age of 70 years. So the policy dah mature, you get the value lah. So participants are entitled to the sum covered under the plan, okay, plus the share of net surplus from the fund if any. This is also depending on the kita kata benefits lah that you get from certain takaful plan. So the money received are not obliged to pay zakat because the participant is supposed to pay zakat earlier before the maturity. Right? Again, the conceptnya is that when we have family takaful, every year we have to pay zakat based on the cash withdrawal value. Which means when the plan matured, you tak perlu bayar lagi dah. Dia akan jadi double payment kan? Because you already paid every year tu dah bayar for the same amount of money, kita dah bayar. So when the takaful plan to mature, so you don't have, or the policy holder did not have to pay zakat. Tapi kalau selama-lama ada takaful tu, the policy holder never pay zakat, dia tak pernah bayar zakat because they don't know. Katakanlah dia tak tahu pun, oh takaful ni kena bayar zakat, I don't know. So I don't pay anything from my family takaful plan, right? But when the takaful plan matures, I have to pay zakat based on the amount that I get. Nampak tak? So instead of you pay every year, you pay lump sum through zakat based on the amount ataupun based on the money received. So the calculation untuk family takaful tadi yang ni lah. Kita ambil cash withdrawal cash value. Right? So ini semua later when you become if you want to be an insurance agent, so you must be very familiar with all these takaful punya terms lah. So for withdrawal cash value ni, like I said, normally every year, because we have to pay zakat juga, pay tax. For example, for this one kan, untuk takaful kita boleh dapat relief. So in order for you to compute the relief, the insurance company, the takaful company, normally at the end of the year, dia akan bagi statement. So dalam statement tu you can see. So which means at that time you pay tax, you can also pay zakat based on the same statement tu. Right? So ada withdrawal cash value dalam statement tu. Zakat on business. Okay, you run a business, have to pay zakat juga. Right? Whether it is in the form of sole proprietor, partnership or company, it is subject to zakat if it fulfills the conditions. Alright, so condition for business asset are Muslim, individual or entity, a free person, the wealth must be from halal sources, which means those activity prohibited by against Islam cannot be included in the zakat calculation. Meet the nisab at the end of haul, which is 2.5% or equivalent to 85 grams of gold. Again, so this is very important. So bila-bila you tengok pun 85 gram of gold ni, this is key yang kita pegang lah 20 missed call ataupun 85 grams of gold. Meet the haul, cukup setahun. Dan bisnes 2 bulan je gulung tikar, tak nak, you give up, you don't want to continue. So you don't have to pay lah because tak cukup setahun. Must be from productive property, cash, shares, bond, ending inventory, ada benda lah, the business ada lah. The business must be fully owned at the date of haul. So basic equation or basic step to assess zakat on business. So whatever asset that you have, cash, stock, debtors, minus creditors, minus loan. So applied whether to assess zakat on sole proprietor or on large multinational corporation. Saya tengok ada example tak dekat sini. Okay, so these figure are actually taken from accounting ataupun from the financial report. So zakat payable is on the net current asset. So whatever asset that you have, kita akan tolak dengan liability, barulah kita kira zakat. So however, due to different treatment between zakat and financial reporting, certain item in current asset or current liabilities need to be adjusted for the purpose of zakat calculation. Okay, so for zakat on business is a bit complicated. Ini saya tunjuk contoh for small business kan. Small business dia tak ada complicated transaction and complicated asset or liabilities. So this is how we calculate. If you run a business, and this is how you calculate your zakat on business. So it must be at the end of haul completion. Cukup setahun. Right, for example, at the end of the year you have cash, you have stock, you have trade debtors. So liability kita ialah trade creditor and ada debts lah, contohnya ada current unpaid tax. So sum of payable dekat sini. So we have to find our net current asset. Okay. Current asset minus current liability. So the net current asset mestilah lebih dari nisab. Nisab again, tadi remember the table tadi, table yang tadi ni dia letak not only for zakat on money. Mana tadi? Okay, nampak. Nisab wang simpanan dan perniagaan. So this table will also help businessmen in order for them to calculate their zakat on business. Okay, so for this year, now April, ini table ni yang ada sekarang. I took this table last week, so ada hanya up to April lah. So maybe today or tomorrow dia keluar untuk May, so dia cukup bulan dia letak figure. Okay, so based on the table tadi, or based on the nisab tadi, alright. Sinilah, must exceed nisab. Let's say nisab kita tadi 14,000 something and your net current asset is 10,000 je. Tak perlu bayar. Okay. So C times 2.5%. So the same simple table ni kita guna calculation of zakat for large multinational listed company juga. Sama juga. Dia adalah asset minus liability. So the balance tu compare dengan nisab dulu. Sama lah, just like when we calculate chargeable income kan. Chargeable income kita tengok, okay, chargeable income ni kena bayar tax ataupun tak. So if below 5,000 a year, chargeable income tak perlu bayar tax kan. Sama dengan macam ni lah. But our nisab ni dia berubah-ubah, berubah ikut date or ikut harga emas. Okay. Another example ada nombor lah, tadi just a table lah, blank table je. So here we have blue shine, recorded statutory income of 50,000 for the year ended 31st December 2016. Ada losses from last year's income 10,000. Company paid zakat on business 1250. Okay, ni contoh dia. Business statutory income for that year, ada loss carried forward 10,000. So 50 minus 10, 40,000. Zakat on business 2.5%. Yes, this is according to the financial year. For business kita ikut financial year, because kita punya haul ni dia tak kata January until December. Nampak tak? From the beginning when we learn about this zakat, dia tak sebut January until December. Dia kata for completion of haul. If let's say you start your business in April, you have to pay zakat May next year. Okay, ikut haul. Dia tak ada date. Kalau macam tax untuk individual, especially untuk individual kan, kita bayar tax tarikh individual mestilah 1st January until 31st December, calendar year. Untuk zakat tak, zakat dia ikut haul tu. Whatever date that you start, kita akan follow cukup sampai 1 tahun. The completion of the haul tu tak ikut calendar year lah. Doesn't matter. So sama juga dengan business, dia akan ikut dia punya calendar year. The business financial year, bukan calendar year. Tapi in this example terus saya buat 31 December lah, senang kita nak tengok. Alright, aggregate income 40,000. Okay, so zakat on business, limit to 2.5% on 40,000. Alright, ini go back to our tax rule. If you remember, zakat pun limited to 2.5% of aggregate income. Right, so 1,000 total taxable income 39,000. Baru tolak bayar tax dia pula 20% contohnya, mana pula 20%, sekarang 24. So allowable maximum zakat deduction is 1,000. Dia bayar zakat sekarang 1,250, dikira sendiri je. Tapi dia hanya boleh tolak 1,000. Nampak konsep zakat macam kita kira donation. Donation ada certain percentage based on aggregate income kan. Kalau you ingat lagi ke tak. Dah masuk week 12 ni, yang belajar masa week 2 dah lupa. So untuk zakat pun dia limit 2.5% on aggregate income. Tak boleh lebih. So here the limit is 1,000. Tapi nampak company dibayar 1,250. Okay, so 250 dah dikira expenses dia. Dia tak boleh bayar 1,250. Not allowable. Alright. Can you try this question and give me the answer? Alright, number 1. Accept.
A. Bukan A, B. Salah building.
Okay. Accept. So agricultural product, paddy kena, land and building tak. Gold and silver, saving and shares, yes. So yes. This one no lah. What about number 2? Any zakat she has to pay? Any amount? A, B, C, D? So we have to be careful with this kind of question. Satu, dia kata ada gold ring, necklace, bracelet that she wears whenever she attend functions. So dia pakai. Alright, so bila pakai ini masuk dalam kategori jewelry ataupun gold worn as jewelry. So the weight blah 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 220 grams. Alright, so current price, okay, Uruf or for owing jewelry is 800 grams. So soalan dia how much zakat on gold that Amira has to pay. So sekarang uruf 800 dia ada 220 je. And dia pakai pula tu. So tak payah bayar zakat lah. Okay, sebab less than uruf. Okay, I want to show you the ada what is the appendix tu?
Madam,
Yeah.
tadi kan kalau macam dia terinvest dekat company yang tak syariah compliant, Madam kata dia akan kira kat initial capital je kan? So initial capital tu setiap tahun initial capital je lah dia kira?
Dia akan kita akan kira macam kita kira zakat on money tu lah. Nampak tak ni? Belum ni later lah. Alright, so this one ni I'll show you. Ada. Sekejap I'll show you something. This is actually, I've shared this with you dalam portal. So I have this table here to help you understand more. Dia patutnya appendix 1 duduk kat atas tapi tak, appendix 1 turun ke bawah. Nampak this is the Word document. I share with you the appendix on zakat. So this is the summary for zakat on wealth. Alright. So for example agriculture, adalah dekat sini. Rate dia bila, how, ada nisab ada. And then the livestock, alright. So total number, zakatable base dia number. So this is the nisab dia. Gold, won and not won. Okay, so customary limit ni 800 gram ni kita ikut dalam ni I follow Selangor 800 gram. Not won, total current value times total weight. Okay, money saving pun ada wadiah conventional, multiple saving. So this is the rate lah. So the halnya, if you wonder, so what hal kita kata completion of 1 year. So ni semua hal semua 1 tahun. So asset ni semua same type lah, derived from gold. So these four need to be combined for nisab fulfillment. Example value 85 gram of gold, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 ni kena combine gold, money, shares and also takaful, the one that I covered today. So all these four kena totalkan, get the amount and then compare with nisab. If it is exceed the nisab amount, then kena bayar zakat based on 2.5%. Alright, so business is the formula. Kita cari net current asset. Kita ambil current asset je, nampak tak? Long term asset tak ada. Current asset je. Current asset minus current liability, 2.5%. Value pun again 85 gram of gold. For silver lain sikit. Silver is the nisab is 595 gram. Right, so EPF mineral ni kita tengok in part 2. I will cover in the next part. Ini berdasarkan nisab emas. Right, ini pun sama. This is actually from lembaga zakat juga. Alright, so samalah again, it is the same thing but this is how we compute. Ini pun saya ambil daripada website lah, so kita boleh tengok. After we've done the second part nanti I will show you the taksiran zakat based on I have two Selangor and also Perak website. Alright, so next one would be the second part ni sikit je. So the rest of the zakat on wealth lah, the one that we saw dalam table tadi. Alright, so just continuation from zakat on wealth, whereby in this second part we have zakat on silver, zakat on EPF, zakat on mineral and also zakat on income. Okay. Alright, so on silver, dia 595 gram. Dia tak sama macam gold tadi lah. Gold 85 gram, so zakat on silver 985 gram. Alright, remember, so zakat on silver ni included jewelry, all the kitchen utensils. You ada pinggan mangkuk, ada sudu garpu, ada dulang, whatever yang silver tu, semua tu kena totalkan lah. So the rate of zakat is 2.5%. So contoh dekat sini, Puan Faiza has 200 gram silver jewelry, 1000 gram silver bars and 100 gram silver coins that she has to pay zakat on her silver collections. Okay, so kita totalkan weight dia dulu. Tambah. So dia kena bayar because total weight is 1,300 gram. The nisab for silver is 595 gram. So contoh dekat sini, the value of the silver is RM3 per gram. Silver is cheaper than gold, way much cheaper than gold. So total value dia darab dengan RM3, zakat is RM97.50. Okay, but the nisab dia lebih tinggi dari gold sebab harga dia lebih rendah. Okay, zakat on EPF. Untuk EPF ni, as we all know, EPF is Employee Provident Fund, compulsory saving scheme in Malaysia. Alright, this is to assist the retirement of employees of private sector. Okay, tapi the benefit is that the member can utilize part of the saving untuk keluarkan savings tu for house ownership and other withdrawal scheme. In fact, under new scheme ni pun ada kan early withdrawal of BPF under prihatin bencana semua ni because of the pandemic ni, right? So zakat on savings in EPF ni similar to zakat on money lah, imposed if it completes the haul and meets the minimum nisab and within the full control of the owner. So again, I take from Selangor, Fatwa Selangor. The calculation for zakat depending on EPF policy on the retirement age. Alright, if you withdraw before 55 years old, ataupun you withdraw after you retire, which is after 55 years old. Alright, so if orang ni they withdraw before 55 years old, for example, they withdraw untuk beli rumah, untuk beli macam-macam lah, ada certain expenses or certain purchases that is allowed for withdrawal ni, zakat is imposed on any purpose of withdrawal amount. Okay, total withdrawal for the year plus net employment income must exceed nisab. Untuk EPF dia kira juga employment income. Total withdrawal times 2.5%. Okay, contoh nisab for year 2017 is 15,000. And orang ni net employment income dia lebih dari nisab lah. So total withdrawal amount 20,000. So the zakat calculation dia 20,000 times 2.5%. Sebab nisab 15 dia withdraw 20. Lebih dari nisab, more than nisab amount. So the amount that the zakat amount that he has to pay is RM500. Ini kalau dia withdraw before 55 duit masih lagi ada dalam tu. Dia withdraw account 1 je untuk beli rumah. So the portion yang dia withdraw tu compare with nisab, if more than nisab, then dia kena bayar zakat. What about after 55? Oh, second one ni tak ada apa lah so the whole considered as full ownership and subject to zakat. After 55, all savings in EPF is considered as full ownership. Okay, so this type of saving is considered as normal zakat on money with the principle of last balance as the basis of calculation. Kalau tadi kita simpan duit dekat bank, kita tengok the last balance at the end of the year kan. So here kita tengok the last balance of the EPF tu sebelum dia withdraw. So contohnya, example total EPF at the end of the year 250,000. So lowest balance dia usually the last balance for the last year lah, 240,000. So the zakat calculation would be 240,000 lowest balance times 2.5%. So zakat would be RM6,000. Katakanlah ini they withdraw after 55 years old dia keluarkan semua duit tu. So kita ambil the lowest balance. Or dah 55 tapi dia tak withdraw pun duit tu, dia biar je kat dalam tu. Boleh juga. Not to withdraw and he want the money to be kept in EPF account. So the haul for zakat on saving starts. Maknanya instead of simpan dekat bank, dia simpan je dekat EPF tu. Alright, so total saving times 2.5%. Tapi syaratnya mesti kat sini lah after 55 years old. Then if your money is there, you don't withdraw. Sekarang ni the case for zakat on EPF ni if you withdraw the money. If you do not withdraw, duit duduk kat dalam tu, because duit yang you masuk dekat dalam EPF tu is actually already zakat already paid. So now if you do not withdraw, tak perlu buat apa-apa lah. So here tadi dia withdraw before 55 years old, dia withdraw kan. So calculation kita total withdrawal. Here after 55 dia withdraw juga. Okay, tapi yang ni dia tak withdraw. Dia tak withdraw tapi dia dah cukup lah. The maturity is 55 years old, retirement age 55. Dia tak withdraw. So dia still kena bayar zakat. Tapi selagi belum reach age, the retirement age and you do not withdraw, you don't have to do anything. Boleh Unless you withdraw your EPF money, then only you have to pay zakat. If you do not withdraw, you don't have to do anything until age of 55, the retirement age. Okay. Okay, untuk pertanian tu zakat on EPF ni tak ada apalah So whatever dividend dia kata dapat from EPF or distributed income from EPF ni prior to launching of simpanan syariah ni is pure and no need to be cleansed. So untuk EPF pun dia ada yang syariah punya. Alright, next would be zakat on mineral. Zakat on mineral ni, I think this one you can read je lah sebab kita we talk about ni tak semua orang ada lah jewels are extracted from the earth like fuel, gas, coal, copper apa semua ni. Buried treasure. The rate dia tinggi sikit lah Tapi in Malaysia kita tak ada collect ni. Tak ada religious authority yang collect zakat on minerals nor zakat on buried treasure ever collected by religious authority in Malaysia. So great potential, a lot to be explored. Malaysia is gifted many valuable mineral, especially like petroleum and gas. So as an individual, kita tak the religious authority tak ada charge lah zakat on minerals ni. Alright, zakat on income. Okay, this is quite simple because if we look at zakat on income, dia sama dengan tax lah whatever you have to pay tax based on your income, the same goes to zakat. Okay, so employment income sama juga. You go back to section 4B kita, okay, yang ada macam-macam tu. So salary allowance, bonus, overtime claim, gratuity, award, ESOS, EPF withdrawal, any other income related to employment. Okay, semua employment income is actually subject to zakat. Income from undertaking tasks or rendering professional services. Alright, you ada professional service, consultation fees, profit from seasonal business, commission, residual income, income gained from liquidation of property, personal drawing by sole proprietor, any income derived from professional or freelance activity pun subject to zakat. Okay, number 3, income derived from, dia kata mustaqalat. This is actually rental income macam kita buat untuk income tax. So untuk income tax, when we calculate sources of income tu, kita ada employment income, then kita ada rental income juga. So yang ni is actually rental income. So the property, remember if you go back to the west, kita kata land and building tak kena zakat, betul? If you own land and building, there will be no zakat. But if you use that land and building for rental, you kena bayar zakat based on that rental income. So rental income from real estate investment, income from rental service, asset, vehicle, permit, transportation, agricultural income other than paddy such as orchard or from horticulture, income from dairy, cattle and meat production, income from mustaqalat sources. So quick rent, assessment, maintenance, apa semua ni kita boleh tolakkan. Konsep dia similar to our rental income. Kita ada allowable expenses. Okay, the same goes to this part. So whatever income that we have from this property, and then minus all the allowable expenses to do quick rent, maintenance, apa semua ni, then kita calculate zakat. Number 4 would be gift. Alright, if we look at saving tadi, dalam saving account tadi, consider as hibah tu kan, itu pun masuk dalam kategori gift. That is why kita masukkan in our calculation of zakat. So if you receive income by someone in exchange of any effort or service, okay, it is also zakatable. Alright. Okay, how to compute zakat on employment income? 2 options. Satu, gross income dia terus multiply by 2.5% without any deduction whatsoever. Ambil dia terus the gross income, terus darab dengan zakat amount which is 2.5%. Very straightforward. Another approach is, okay, this one the concept pun sama macam when we do our personal relief. So in taxation, we call it personal relief. For example, for your own self ada 9,000, for child ada 2,000. Kalau ada bayar untuk mak adalah all the deduction dia. Untuk zakat pun sama juga. The same goes to zakat, and we call it had kifayah, level of sufficiency. So the term is a bit different lah. So for approach 2, so this one is straightforward. You take the gross income terus multiply by 2.5%. You don't have to minus all the expenses incurred dah, tak ada. But for approach 2, they allow for deduction on allowable expenses. Okay, so it is defined according to the decision made by the respective state Islamic Religious Council. Okay, so untuk Selangor, untuk Perak, so the level of sufficiency is different. Dia kata had kifayah nanti kalau I show you the website later. It is being used to determine the poor and hardcore poor. Alright, contohnya, this is the income that we have. Katakanlah you ada employment income, non-employment income, donation and also from mustaqballah asset. Kita buat rental. Determine all deduction juga, hak kifayah and other relevant deduction. Ada extra, ada excess. The excess must meet the nisab. Kena lebih nisab juga. Then multiply by 2.5%. Okay, these are the example of deductible expenses ataupun had kifayah. Ini saya tak ingat ini state mana saya ambil, Selangor pun. Ini contohnya. Dalam had kifayah ni ada 6 items, basic 6 item lah, limit of sufficiency. Maksudnya you ada tak semua benda ni, which are home, food, clothing, education, medical expenses, transportation. This will help determine tadi dia nak determine the level of poor and hardcore poor tu kan. Nak tengok you mampu ke tak. So in zakat ni, allowable expenses untuk employment income ni, kita ada 6 item of sufficiency. Basicnya macam ni lah. Tapi in Malaysia, according to states, dia ada different amount. Alright. Ini contoh, I think this is Selangor. So zakat on income is input on income after sufficiency limit. Let's say you have 1 year income is 100,000. 1 year gross income 100,000. But sebab tu dia kata after sufficiency limit kan, kena bayar rumah, you have to pay for your food, you have to pay for the clothing of the parents, of the children, you have to pay for education, anak belajar dekat IPT, anak belajar dekat sekolah, ada mak ayah tak sihat, ada medical expenses, ada transportation, ada hantar anak pergi childcare. Alright, so all this deduction ya. So kalau zakat ni dia tak kejam, dia tak kata oh you earn banyak you kena bayar zakat banyak. Tak, you earn banyak sometimes you spend pun banyak kan. So based on the had kifayah ni, for example, house of household, okay, head of household, for example, if you do, we calculate personal relief untuk person as yourself, kita ada 9,000 kan. So untuk yang ni lebih tinggi 10,750. Working adult, let's say the husband and the wife. So the husband is the head of household, dia dapat deduction of 10,750. Ada wife satu rumah dengan dia, ada 5,000. Ada juga non-working adult, ada anak tapi tak kerja duduk dengan dia, 2,300. Maknanya dia kena tanggung So kita kata sufficiency limit ni dia kena tanggung. Ada anak dekat IPT, satu anak 2,800. Ada school children 7 to 17 years old, satu anak 2,200. Ada child below 7 years old, satu anak 1,450. Nampak tak? The rate is different from personal relief Dia lagi tinggi. Handicap family additional expenses member. Ada family member yang handicap, tambah lagi 2,400. Ada hantar childcare cost, nursing cost 2,300. Medical cost for chronic disease 2,400. Okay. So these are the allowable. Kita kata these are all considered as allowable expenses deductible. Boleh tolak ini. Right, example. This one from Selangor biru ni. Okay, what you have to isi dalam ni is komponen pendapatan the income. This is for employment income only. Untuk goal apa semua tu cerita lain lah. We have done with zakat on wealth. Now is zakat on employment income. Right, so kita tak campur. So here let's say hasil penggajian this is all from employment income. Professional fees, mustawala and also gift and donation. Tambahlah had kifayah isi rumah. B1 ni, had kifayah isi rumah ni is based on this one tadi. Isilah according to the household ada berapa orang anak apa semua tu. This is had kifayah, okay. Tolaklah. Tolak kalau ada different. Nampak dekat sini. Tolak simpanan tahunan semasa tabung haji jika ada. Kita nak kira nisab kan. Tabung haji kira dia duduk dekat sini. So dia terus calculate the amount of zakat. Yang ni tak nampak sangat dia punya ni Okay, ini lembaga zakat Selangor. Ini kifayah, had kifayah untuk Selangor. Belanja keluarga sebulan. Ketua keluarga rumah percuma. Dewasa bekerja. Dewasa 18 tahun ke atas tidak bekerja. Anak belajar di IPT. Anak sekolah 7 hingga 17. Anak tidak bersekolah di bawah 6 tahun. Ini dikira belanja sebulan Tambahan kalau ada tanggungan anak OKU, lebih lagi. Kos penjagaan anak, kos perubatan, sakit, kronik. So dia ada kalkulator terus dah dalam ni So just isi je dia akan kira had kifayah. So pendapatan tolak had kifayah baru dapat ni, nampak? Before you isi this one, isi dulu pendapatan sebulan. Alright, so in this one Lembaga Zakat Selangor ni nak calculate hardcore poor and poor tu tadi, nak tengok cukup ke tak. So katakanlah isi pendapatan dah tolak semua ni, pendapatan tolak had kifayah dapat negatif. Itulah dikira hardcore poor lah. Ataupun tolak had kifayah ni tinggal lah berapa ringgit je dekat sini. So mungkin dia masuk dalam kategori poor. So maybe you can apply for bantuan-bantuan lah dekat zakat, because this one is actually from Zakat Selangor. So I have here the kalkulator zakat ni, kita pergi tengok Zakat Selangor, tengok kat sini. Ini tadilah. So isi je dapat bayar zakat ataupun untuk perak dia lain sikit. Mana tadi? Okay. Kalau perak dia nama dia Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Melayu Perak. So pilihlah, selamat datang, pilihlah zakat pendapatan simpanan perniagaan KWSP, EPF lah, saham, emas dan perak. So we have done with yang bawah ni. So let's look at zakat pendapatan. Kalau perak dia macam ni pula. Zakat pendapatan mengikut had kifayah. Gaji pokok, isilah berapa pun, tolak perbelanjaan dibenarkan. Yang ni dia kira untuk setahun. Kalau Selangor tadi sebulan. Ini setahun terus. Diri dihadkan 10,800 setahun. Nampak? Lagi tinggi for tax. Kita punya self 9,000 je kan. Ni 10,800. Oh, tak nampak Nampak the website je Okay, sekejap. Saya share balik. Okay. So ini perak punya. Kalkulator zakat Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Melayu Perak. So here, alright, so diri 10,800, isteri 5,000. Ada bilangan isteri pula kat sini, so dia akan darab lah. Let's say dia letak 2 kat sini, dia jadi 10,000 lah. Anak di bawah tanggungan dihadkan 2,300 seorang. Anak menuntut DIPT 2,800 seorang. Pemberian kepada ibu bapa 3,000 setahun. Nampak tak? The item ni sama macam personal relief je sikit-sikit. Tapi personal relief tu dia ada lifestyle lah apa semua kan. Yang ni tak adalah. Yang ni back to our sufficiency limit tadi, ada 6 item tadi. Yang penting je. Yang penting je. All the keperluan je. Sufficiency. Yang lain-lain tu tak ada. Lifestyle semua tak ada masuk lah. Okay, rawatan. Pendapatan bersih A minus B. So dalam ni pun for perak nisab dia dah masuk dah. 19,803.92. So if the figure dekat sini lebih dari 19 ni, kena bayar lah. Dan dia tolak juga caruman ke tabung haji jika ada setahun. Yang kita simpan dalam tabung haji every year tu. So pendapatan bersih tolak caruman ke tabung haji. So kita kira dapatlah jumlah zakat setahun G dekat sini ni times 2.5%. So kalau nak potong zakat secara bulanan pun boleh. Bolehlah buat dekat sini FPX ke, potongan gaji ke. So terus je bayar dekat sini. This is the website untuk perak. Kalau untuk Selangor tadi, Selangor macam ni lah. Komponen pendapatan dia, had kifayah dia, isi rumah so nampak beza. Kalau Selangor lagi tinggi. Untuk ketua keluarga tadi perak 10,000 kan, Selangor 12,000. Dewasa bekerja 48 tak boleh add kat sini. Tanggungan belajar IPT 7,100. Tadi perak berapa ribu tadi? Macam lagi rendah je kalau anak IPT 2008 je. Nampak Selangor bagi berapa? 7104 banyak Because apa, duduk dekat city, the expenses is higher than kalau duduk dekat suburb kan. So the rate tu dia ikutlah dekat mana negeri-negeri mana kita ada So macam ni, anak 17 tahun 4,000. 6 tahun ke bawah 1,700 So the rate is higher compared to perak punya. Okay. Alright, so that is had kifayah kita panggil. Sufficiency limit. Alright, issue related to zakat on income. Okay, what about zakat assessment for husband and wife? In taxation ada option untuk separate and joint assessment. Zakat tak ada. Kau bayar seorang satu. tak ada joint So should be made separately between husband and wife. So the responsibility to pay zakat is on individual income earner. You earn the income, you pay zakat. Okay. Relief for children and parents. Same goes to zakat. Either husband or wife is entitled for child relief. Tak boleh dah ada dua orang kira. Contribution to parents is up to the sufficiency limit under non-working category, 2,400 yearly. Deposit in tabung haji. If you look at the calculation tadi, the yearly deposit ni is considered before nisab assessment. So if net income before tabung haji deduction is more than nisab, the total income is zakatable. Okay, sebab tu kalau kita tengok tadi the calculation tu kan, tabung haji dia duduk dekat bawah. Personal drawing. So ini expenses taken ataupun kita kata drawing from by sole proprietor, considered also as income to the business owner. Okay. Alright, so a little bit on zakat and tax for individuals in Malaysia. So kita dah tengok, we have done throughout the semester up to week 10. Kita tengok about taxation. And then we have also explore zakat in Malaysia, zakat system in Malaysia. So the different types of zakat, zakat on wealth, zakat on income. Zakat on wealth pun kita ada macam-macam lah. So kita ada zakat on gold, silver, we have shares, EPF, and so here kita katakan Muslim has to make 2 compulsory payments from the same source of income, tax and also zakat. Alright, so untuk tax kita dah kira employment income kan, ada employment income, then you have to pay tax. On the same income, kena bayar zakat juga. So zakat is obligatory on the Muslim, while income tax is civil obligation as a Malaysian citizen. So si ada kat sini zakat obligation to Allah, while tax is obligation to the federal government. Alright. So for zakat ni, as we have done before, when we did our personal relief topic last time, tak ada entitlement for rebate. So zakat is considered under rebate. So the amount of zakat paid is entitled to be claimed as rebate pursuant to section 6A3 of the Income Tax Act. So rebate shall be granted for a year of assessment for any zakat fitrah or any other Islamic religious due. Zakat fitrah pun also entitled for rebates under the same section. Tapi kalau for taxation, if you pay more than whatever you have to pay, you will get tax refund. Untuk zakat tak ada. No tax refund. Alright, example. This is the example coming from tax calculation. So this is jumlah, saya dah summarize dah. So jumlah pendapatan ini, this is jumlah relief, pendapatan bercukai. Alright, so ini based on kita punya table lah. Pertama 70,000, 21%. Okay, so ini berbalance lah 21%. So this is the tax paid. So jumlah cukai pendapatan, okay, 8768. Tolak rebate. Katakanlah untuk tahun ni, orang ni bayar zakat fitrah 1440. Okay, so tolak rebate zakat dia. So ini jumlah cukai yang dikenakan. Tapi sebab untuk income tax ni biasanya for employment income is already paid, bayar untuk setiap bulan tu yang kita kata potongan cukai berjadual tu, ada schedule tax deduction tu. Okay, dah bayar 8470. Sepatutnya bayar 7328. So adalah tax refund of 1140. Tapi untuk zakat ni dia tak ada calculation. Katakanlah you use the sufficiency tadi tu to calculate your zakat sebenarnya. Alright, sebab zakat ni untuk tolak setiap bulan tadi, like I show you figure untuk yang Selangor and also Perak tadi kan. Once you calculate the zakat amount, kita ada pula dekat bawah tu nak bayar setiap bulan. So setiap bulan tu lah untuk employment income, from your salary pun boleh tolak terus zakat every month. So ini every month lah ni, 120 sampailah 12 bulan jadi 1440. Okay, so based on the sufficiency limit tu, you calculate berapa sebenarnya, how much is actually zakat that you have to pay for employment income every month. So tolakkan ni sama dengan tolak dengan income tax juga. Alright, so again zakat payment is not refundable. He who gives something to someone as a gift and then gets it back is like a dog which is its own vomit. Asal orang cakap kan, oh pagi minta balik buruk siku kan. Macam ni lah, asal dia dah bayar zakat, there is no refund. Alright, ada lagi 2 soalan for your self-assessment ni. Alright, what is the answer for number 1? The wrong statement regarding zakat on silver. A, B, C or D? What do you think? Wrong statement, eh? So obligation of zakat on silver confirmed by the Quran, Sunnah and Ijma', that is true, eh? Besides gold, silver is another form of money that is subject to zakat obligation, yes. Silver is considered as one of the precious metal, and wearing silver ornaments or keeping silver bars and silver coin becoming more and more popular. Betul juga. There are 2 types of zakat on silver. Silver used as jewelry and silver that is non-jewelry. Betul ke yang tu? No, eh? Jewelry and non-jewelry just for gold. Silver regardless pakai ke tak pakai ke, you have to pay based on nisab, which is 595 gram. Okay, untuk gold tak ada. Gold ada beza pakai dengan tak pakai. Silver tak ada. Number 2, which of the following are considered as zakatable income? 1, income from employment. 2, income from mustaghalat, example rental. Income from professional service. And gift. A, B, C, D. Semua, the answer is all of the above. All of the above tu mana satu? C. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Semua ni betul. Alright, so that's all for, saya nak tunjukkan yang ni balik tadi. Share with you this one again. Okay, ini example lah. Zakat pendapatan berasaskan nisab emas. So, employment income, gaji, upah and everything. Hasil bersih kerja bebas, alright, all the professional, all the freelance punya lah. And hasil bersih sewaan, mustaghalat tadi, all the rental income. Hasil sumber pemberian, if you get hadiah, sagu hati, harta pusaka, whatever ni, semua masuk dekat sini. Jumlah keseluruhan pendapatan, total of the income. Lepas tu here, tolakkan had kifayah ni. Ada diri, ada isteri, ini from Selangor tapi saya tak sure tahun bila yang ni because the amount is lower kan. Tadi kita tengok lagi tinggi. So contoh diri darab dengan 1 lah dapat jumlah. Isteri kalau 1 lah dapat jumlah. Tanggungan tidak bekerja, kalau tak ada then tak adalah. Tanggungan belajar IPT. For this had kifayah ni, if in that particular household dia ada semua, then you calculate letak kat hujung sini. If dia tak ada, then you don't have to calculate anything lah. Okay. So kalau dia tak ada, dia tak entitled, tak adalah. Katakanlah dia ada anak umur 7 to 17 years, ada 4 anak. So 2002 times 4 dekat sini will be the total. Okay. 0 hingga 6 tahun. Katakan ada anak 4 tahun seorang. So 1450 darab 1, 1. So total hak kifayah dekat sini. Ada hak kifayah tambahan. Katakanlah ada anak OKU pula 1. So tambah lagi 2004 dekat sini. Kos penjagaan anak. Okay, ini yang child care tu. Tambah lagi dekat sini. Alright, so these are the total hak kifayah. Lepas tu kalau ada tolakan lain, kalau tak ada, tak payahlah. So jumlah pendapatan kena zakat, this is the adjustment. So wajib zakat dekat sini and whatever amount that you have here multiply by 2.5%. So untuk kira had kifayah ni saya tak tunjuk detail lah but this is how you should do it depending on the question that you get, depending on the apa kita kata, the kadar dia, the rate dia and also bilangan lah. Satu isteri, dua isteri, satu anak, dua anak, tiga anak, empat anak dia tak ada maksimum. Dia macam tax relief juga lah, tak ada maximum number of child. So this is how we calculate the had kifayah ataupun sufficiency limit and the expenses that a person has to pay. Okay, the next one ini tadi saya dah tunjuk the summary for zakat on wealth. This is the summary. And then next would be zakat harta lain berasaskan nisab emas. Okay, ini again it's a combination from last week's topic which are gold, savings ataupun money. So money dalam ni lah. Shares, tolak adjustment kalau ada. So penentuan nisab dia, kecukupan nisab dia, okay. Jumlah keseluruhan, nampak tak, dia letakkan more than nisab. If less than nisab, then the step will stop here. Stop dekat F je. Kalau tambah-tambah semua ni less than nisab, then you don't have to pay zakat. Tapi tambah-tambah you add everything, the amount is way more than the nisab, then kena kira lah. Darab dengan 2.5%. Any questions? Tak ada, okay If you don't have question, I have scheduled a quiz for you. I think that would be our last quiz for the semester on zakat and tax planning. Alhamdulillah, no more. That will be on Google Classroom, available now, 10:30, tak pakai jam pula kat rumah. 10:30 until 1 PM. So please make some time to answer the question. Soalan sikit je, markah pun 10 je. Saya buka sampai pukul 1. Alright, so now if you get the notification, you can go straight to your Google Classroom and answer the question lah. Alright. Saya pun ada meeting at 11, so I have to stop class before 11 lah. Tak ada soalan No more question.
Ada, madam.
Okay, so selamat menjawab soalan quiz. Jangan lupa I think I set at 30. Cuba check dulu. Kalau ada, kalau belum ada, let me know. Alright, so I will see you next week. For next week, kita ada next week 13 dah So that will be our last class lah kot. Week 14 dah tak ada. Sebab ada lagi satu topik je which is tax administration and tax planning So itu pun sikit je lah. We have done with all the calculation for zakat and also for taxation. Okay, so I will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Madam. Thank you, madam. Have a nice day.
Thank you, madam.